So we've arrived at the next location, and it's at the sort of the top end of a field. If I pan down, you can see at the bottom there, very bottom in the distance, is the river. And there's a row of more established trees here. They were planted maybe 7 years ago, 8 years ago. Here's the first one in the row. It's one looks like a plum tree. And these two here are the first trees we've come across that have blossom on them. Fruit trees, that is. So these two are plums, and we actually pruned them down a bit a couple of weeks ago because they were quite high. So we'll give you a close-up look of the blossom on some of these. There we go. Every flower is a fruit if it gets pollinated by the bees. So down there we've got a newly planted bush we put in a couple of weeks ago, and that's a berry. It's a cross between a gooseberry and a currant, but I can't remember the name of it. Here's another, that looks like an apple tree there, just starting to come out into bud. We'll take a closer look. There you go. We'll put some mulch down at the bottom of some of these. Another plum tree there. So you can see these are a lot bigger than some of the very newly planted orchards. We didn't have the funding for the cages to protect these, but we still put them in with stakes and mulch and put the bike tyres around them to protect them from the wind. It is quite windy up here. That's it's an apple tree. Another apple there that's a bit more established, but we did just put it in, but it was growing for longer in someone's back garden, I think. Here we've got a currant bush. So that was planted some time ago, and it really got a bit out of control actually. So it's really been tidied up, and when it was tidied up and pruned back, we're able to take a lot of root cuttings, I'll call them. You see another video where I've talked about layering. It's when you put a branch onto the floor, weight it down, and then it develops a root, and then you can cut that off and create a new plant out of it. So we've got a lot of root cuttings that we're going to be propagating, and hopefully we'll have to spread around some of the sites. So that's the currant. Here, it's a little bit of a mass of tangles, is a cultivated blackberry bush, and it's very, very nice. We tried them last summer, and they had quite a different flavour to the wild ones that you come across. So that's a really good area to know about. And here we've got an apple tree. Had a bit of disease, and it was completely flopped back into that bush and crowded out by that bush behind it. So we've pulled it forward and staked it down. Did that a couple of weeks ago. And also, if you see down here, there's a bush there with light coloured leaves. That was completely crowded out by this thing behind it, so that was really chopped back to give it a bit of space. We pruned this back, and it's a gooseberry bush, and that's really quite established. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, about five groups of stems at its base, so it's spread throughout the years, and that should have quite a lot of fruit. And again, we were able to get a few root cuttings out of that will be propagated. And here is the last tree in the run, and that's an apple tree. So newly planted, so we've got a mix of old and new on this run. I'll see if I can get a shot of the whole run. There you go, so you can see going up to the top of the field. I guess the long-term dream or ambition will be to spread this all the way down to the bottom of that field, probably make it about 10 times longer than it is at the moment. So huge potential here, and just the beginning of something bigger, like all the projects are. So we'll go to the next location.